Hi everyone, got a review for you. What you're looking at here is the Becker BK11, also known as the Becker Necker, created in conjunction with K-Bar. I just put it back in the box so that you guys could see how it looked when I first got it in the mail. So let's open this eye up and have a look. So this on the side. What you get here is a little product catalog with some of the other knives in K-Bar's line. You get about 7 feet of 550 paracord, which is nice because this is marketed as a neck knife. You'll lash it through the sheath and then hang it from your neck. I personally don't like neck knives just because I don't like something slapping me on the chest. I think of it more as a belt knife because it's a little bit too large for that. And the sheath. Now I need to talk about the sheath a little bit. A lot of times I'll see a really great knife but the sheath sucks and I'll pass on the knife because if you have a crappy sheath, you're not going to want to carry the knife on you. You're going to leave it in your pack or in your car or whatever. And even if you buy the knife and you want to get, say, a custom Kydex sheath made for it, that's another 30-40 bucks that you're tacking on top of the total cost. So it's always a great thing if the knife is great and the sheath is great as well. This is a glass-filled nylon sheath, not Kydex, but it doesn't really matter because it serves the same function. It doesn't absorb water, and it's pretty durable. It's got all these little hole grommets right here for you to lash the paracord through to hang it from your neck if you wanted to. And I don't know if you can see it, this little hole right here at the bottom is a drain hole, so moisture can go through if you get water inside of it. And you can see the logo. The actual knife itself, just remove it from this little cardboard slip right here, is made out of 1095 Cro-Van steel, which is just 1095 tool steel with chromium and vanadium added to it. It is a drop point style blade, and the blade itself is full flat ground, like so. See if you can see that. Just goes straight down in the blade, and the edge degree angle is 15 degrees. It weighs about 2.4 ounces, and the overall length is 6.75 inches. The actual cutting edge is 3¼ inches. Rockwell hardness is measured between 56 and 58. And what else can I tell you about this? Oh, and it has a great epoxy coating. See, 1095 is a tool steel, so unlike a stainless steel, if you leave this in moisture it will rust, but this epoxy coating is going to help protect it. You should still wipe it down and oil it after you use it, but the epoxy coating will help. For the design, you'll look here at the bottom, there is a bottle opener, so that's pretty useful. And this little notch right here is a wire cutter, so you would stick wire in here and then just twist it back and forth until the wire breaks. The handle is skeletonized to save you some weight, and these holes right here are the exact same size as 550 paracord in case you want to wrap the handle. I want to get to the handle. In terms of the handle, I wish they would just raise the total price of the knife and just included handle scales that you can screw on through these holes with torque screws, just because paracord is great, but it is porous, and if you wrap this in paracord it's going to absorb moisture, and say if you're working in a dirty environment, like if you drop this in mud or if you're cutting meat, it'll get absorbed into the paracord and eventually you're going to have to cut it out and use fresh paracord to wrap versus handle scales. It doesn't have to be anything fancy, doesn't have to be G10 or micarta, just some cheap simple plastic scales would work just as well, so that's fine. The blade thickness is 0.165 inches, so it's pretty thick, and as you see, the blade doesn't taper until like the very tip, so it's a pretty stout blade. I wouldn't mind like doing a little bit of light prying, and even though the blade is a bit short, I wouldn't really mind batoning this into a piece of wood. I mean, it feels pretty sturdy. Another hit I'll give this is, well, it's actually a good thing, is the sheath is designed to work with the Tdi Belt Clip, which can be bought separately by K-Bar, and I actually bought it because I don't want to wear this as a neck knife. I want to wear this on my belt. You see here, belt clip fits right there, and it comes with torque screws so you can screw it on. If you'll notice here, the clip is well designed. You see this little, let's just use the knife as a pointer. See if I can get that. See that little thing I'm pointing at right there, that little notch at the bottom that's coming in towards the sheath? That's great because when you pull this out of the sheath, this is going to catch onto your belt and the sheath stays where it is while the knife keeps going. So the sheath is actually well designed. The unfortunate part is this is sold separately, so you're going to have to spend money on the on the clip, I'm sorry, and also on shipping on this. I would have preferred they raised the total price of the package and just included the clip to save a little bit of money. But as it is, this is a good package. Also wish they had raised the price a little bit and added the handle scales, as I said before. The knife is very ergonomic. I have small hands and I can just about fit my pinky onto it to get a full purchase. All my other friends though have larger size hands and they have their pinky dangling, but they say that it's pretty comfortable when they hold it, and they don't feel like this is pinching into their palm at all. Some people I've heard when reading online reviews have said they've had that problem, but it's one of those things where you have to pick up the knife yourself and see how you feel about it. I find this comfortable. This is actually marketed and compared against the Rat Izula, which is another neck knife, and they actually think the Izula is more comfortable. Now I actually have a martial arts training knife which pretty much has the same outline as it. It just doesn't have this little bump right here at the bottom, and I can say that I do prefer having this little outline. I'm not saying this is an uncomfortable knife. This is very comfortable. This just happens to be a little bit more comfortable. But as it is, this design is fine. If I had a choice though, I would have recommended that they got rid of this little hump right here. I feel that I would just control this knife just fine. Another thing I would have liked is I wish they would have put jimping on the back spine of this knife. Partly for having more control of it, but also because if this is going to be used as a hard use outdoor knife and camping knife, when you have jimping on the back, you can use it as a striker against a magnesium rod in case you lose this little striker that comes with it. So I mean, it's kind of nice that you can use the back of the blade. As it is, I haven't tried using the back of this blade yet, and plus I don't want to scratch up the epoxy coating. Speaking of Rat Cutlery, I think this is actually a smaller, more affordable competitor to the Rat RC-3, even though that sounds kind of weird. Actually, let me just point at my computer screen right here. Let's see if I can get you a better view. I had to invert the colors, so this is actually a black blade, but this is a picture that is to scale. This is 8 1/4 inches, and this is how big the Rat RC-3 would look. And if you actually compare it, yes, this has a smaller handle, and this looks like it has a smaller blade, but if you'll notice, the blade isn't completely cutting edge. You have this large choil right here. The actual cutting edge of the RC-3 is about 3 1/2 inches, whereas the cutting edge on this is 3 1/4 inches. So you only have 1/4 of an inch more cutting space on the RC-3. The handle will be more comfortable, but I don't find that's a problem just because I have small hands and I can get around. The other thing is, whereas the RC-3 has 1/8 of an inch thickness in blade, so 0.125, this is actually 0.165, so this is actually thicker, so I would expect this to be a little bit sturdier. But don't get me wrong, I love the RC-3. I mean, if I had the money, I would totally get one, but compared to the Becker Necker, I think this is actually a better value in terms of how much money you spend and how much knife that you get in return. And that brings me to the price. For the knife and the sheath, no belt clip, you're going to be spending about $35 free shipping on Amazon.com. That's an incredible bargain that you're getting a 1095 full flat ground epoxy coated blade with a great sheath for $35. That's just an incredible bargain. I mean, you don't run into that very often in the knife world. You're going to be spending a little bit more. The belt clip retails for about, I think, $15, but if you hunt around, you can probably find it used or at discount for about $10 to $12. So that does bring up the final price to about $50. But even if you're okay with carrying this as a neck knife or throwing this in your pack, $35 for this quality of blade is an incredible deal. I just think it's great. Another thing I should talk about before I let you guys go is some people have complained that the sheath retains onto the knife a little bit too hard. You'll notice here you have this little notch right here that fits into this bump. If you push it in all the way, hear that little click? It's really hard to get this knife out. I actually have to pull pretty hard to pull this out. What I've found though is if you put this in, but not all the way, just enough so that it clicks right behind it, it's fine. This gives a pretty good level of retention. It's not going to rattle or anything like that, and you can see I'm shaking it pretty hard, and that's fine. You can pull the knife pretty easily. If you think you're going to be getting into a lot of motion or movement and you really don't want it, you can just push it in all the way till it clicks, and that's fine. But as it is, the retention is fine if you just go into the first click like so. Easy to pull out the knife. That's just like a little tip if you get this sheath and you're wondering why it's so hard to pull it out. And plus over time it's going to get loosened up as you're putting it in and pulling it out. So yeah, great deal, $35. I mean, you can't really find a deal this good nowadays in the knife world. And so that is my review of the Becker Necker. Thanks for watching, guys, and have a good day.